Is everybody's thing majig on? Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to take roll?
Would you want to open the meeting?
I
with
thought
the
I
date?
did. Oh, open it at 6:04.
Okay, and
We're
this
not using
is
this thing.
the December 15th Special Historic Review Board meeting.
Yeah.
Jonathan Stone,
Here?
Cindy Toll,
Here.
Derek Metzen,
Here.
Chair McLaughlin,
Here.
and Bob Seward is not here.
Way wall. Okay, then we're gonna.
Yeah, so just
Close.
before we pause,
Pause.
we have two people submitting for Historic Review Board positions. Generally, how we, in the years past, have worked by processing HRB positions, we've had people come in, introduce themselves. In front of you, you have some just generalized questions, so you can ask the board members those questions, or if you feel what you need to ask of them to see if they, things of A, do they have a qualified historic review background of architecture or design? Do they have a passion for old buildings? What is it that's bringing them to the table tonight? And then some questions could be asked that you think their ability to review applications and make decisions based on criteria and be able to show that they're not biased. Once we go through tonight, what often happens, I'll send an email out to board members and you can individually give me your comments, not the reply all, but the individual. Based on your comments, if there's a recommendation to move forward, I'll forward these people's names to the mayor to move forward if he wants to move forward for appointment. That generally takes about a month or 2 more months to move forward on that. So with that, I'm going to pause so we are not recording for these interviews.
Pause now, and
I'm stopping the pause.
we're gonna start up. We're starting with Carnegie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are the screens down?
Oh, do we have anything on the screens, or no? We're just.
We do. Why is this not working?
Good question.
Yes, that's what we're putting out there.
If I needed that bad, yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
I know how it is.
Because I get rid of our presents.
We just have them come sit up here.
Yeah. I'm actually going to pause it real quickly. So real quickly, we're back on. Chair McLaughlin. As you recall,
It takes a minute.
as you recall, this is the third design advice for the Carnegie Library. They plan on submitting early in the new year. So you'll see, next time you see them will be for a land use application for the Historic Review Board.
When are they shooting for next month?
Yeah, it's too far away.
When are they shooting for
Almost
that?
working.
What'd you say?
I think February. Is that correct? The February meeting?
No, we're coming back here in
In
the
the
January.
January 21st.
Great.
Oh,
We'll see.
no, HRB. I'm sorry. No.
Oh, no.
I don't
sorry.
think we're coming back till
No.
Okay.
February.
So the next time you see them will be
Yeah.
at a land use. So I think the goal tonight
February.
is to kind of give them the go-ahead based on, of course, your individual comments. These are as warranted. This is design advice. It's non-binding comments. And all 3 meetings will go into the record when they do go into their quasi-judicial. So we have 3 tonight. Hopefully we can get through this pretty quickly. And once again, seeing both options, I think that a lot of your comments have been incorporated from when we last met. So I think that's kind of the goal, but where you are and then kind of how you think that you've incorporated the comments from the board. So
Okay.
not working.
It was there. Now it's there.
It was.
Here.
go
That function F8. Try that.
Have we met with y'all 3 times, or is this our 3rd time?
This is our third.
That's what I
Yeah.
Gets more exciting each time.
thought. Oh yeah. It's
Especially when the technology doesn't work.
it's getting more refined, so it's a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're very close.
I also have a stick if this fails.
Now jump to the other one.
Oh, now you've moved
I
it?
don't know how he did it,
Now
but
it's
I
over.
can't switch it back.
Okay, I'll just move back to you.
Come on, Renee.
It's back now, so you can take it. Yay! All right, go for it.
Okay.
And I did it by itself.
Apparently.
Hopefully.
I don't know. I've lost track.
No way. Are you serious? We're not even touching it.
And I don't.
I thought
It's possessed.
No.
No, now it's
works
switched back.
well.
he's got another year.
There we
We
go.
have another year.
No, no,
I'll keep track.
Put it on there.
Oh, that's weird.
You and me both. I have literally lost
There,
track.
there it is. It's fine.
I just go every
I know
month.
this is what happened to me last
I
time
think
where
you
it
were good
doesn't.
last year. So you're good.
Was
Maybe
it
it's-
last year?
Maybe it's John.
Okay, so.
It's me? Are you blaming it on me? Except for now I have
But how are
nothing
you
on my
keeping track of me if you
screen.
don't keep track of you?
Yeah, that's it.
Re-upped once.
Maybe it was.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I think this is, I think I've been.
But now it's doing that
Okay,
other
I
thing,
know, so I
John.
did. Here we go.
Maybe it's
Okay,
2
here we
years
go.
ago.
Hold on. Whoa, whoa.
I might have had
three.
during
Let me
last
do
year
three.
from last year.
Dude, now the mood's set, so we're ready to go. Okay.
And there we go.
Well, you're seeing
Yeah.
mine. Let's see here. I'm just gonna. You should be seeing. Hold on a sec.
Or had the TV on. That's kind of cool.
Give it a second because it's like not going into
Yeah,
presentation mode. Huh? I did. That's the duplicate. This is what it did. Remember it did this
Yeah.
the other night?
How'd you fix it?
Why don't we just,
It
Click on
just
display
kinda-
settings.
Huh?
Click on display settings at the top.
That's what we did. That's what we've been doing.
can you go through the slides just like this if you're to
I
click on it?
can, but
It's not us.
you're just.
It's a lot smaller, but
Yeah, but
yeah, we got to do something.
Yep. I don't really need the. Let's try it. See? Hold on.
I mean, if this is what we have, go ahead.
All right. Mo, do you want to give quick presentation or I mean just a quick synopsis of
Yeah.
where we've been
So,
and what's been decided?
Good evening, everybody. Sorry this is taking so long.
Yeah.
So since we last saw you, which was just last month.
Last month.
Wow. We've been working on, the architects have been working on a couple of two-story options for us, since the direction was to go into the two-story. So they've done enough work on the two-story that the site was more or less laid out, and we had enough that we could really start showing people. So we have had recently, in the last 2 weeks, a community meeting at the library. We've been to the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association. We've been to the City Commission work session. There you go. It's looking great.
Or I'm completely blank over here.
Okay, just look
I
up.
know, I know.
Yeah. We've been to the library board, and we've been to Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. So now we're just here to bring you up to speed on where we are and get your feedback, because as we discussed earlier, in the end of January, we will be looking for the approvals to start the review process, and then, so the next time we see you would be in the review process later, February, March, whenever that is.
We are scheduled to submit both the historic review board application package as well as site design review package January 23rd. And with that presentation will be shown at the city council or city commissioners, thank you, on the 21st. And because there's new commissioners, we'll be showing kind of a preview of that on the 13th.
At their work session to
Yeah.
make sure that the new city commissioners are up to speed on what's going on before
when
we
you-
ask them to make a decision.
When you guys see it in February, it'll be a good month into review.
You didn't do anything. I don't know what to tell you. See, it changed.
You guys have anything on your screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Back on yours.
Well,
And you can
function
finish
F8.
and-
Yeah. This, you know, it's kind of, all right, perfect.
Well, now we don't see. Now we don't see.
Now you don't see anything?
No, say
Nope, don't say a thing.
That's crazy. This is just too nuts. Okay. Let's just try. It says computer only. Let's try this. Okay. Do you see anything?
No, I do.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. This is the Carnegie Library. So this is a slideshow that we have, or presentation that we've shown the city commissioners. We've shown PRAC, McLaughlin Neighborhood Association, from which they and the library board, as well as an open house at the library. And we showed basically 2 architectural options with 1 site option. And the whole, so option 1 and option 2, site development is the same. The architecture is different. But the kind of the overarching idea or concept is to make a library plaza, entry plaza, utilizing the existing spray park and maintaining the playground on site but moving it east. And that was presented to McLaughlin Neighborhood. It was presented to PRAC, and everybody is good with that.
Well, let's qualify that. The people who were at the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association certainly had questions, but more or less comments were very favorable. We're going back to meet with them on January 8th for another meeting, at which time they'll bring forward more questions, I'm sure, because that's the plan. PRAC approved both sites, or both plans, on the condition that we meet or exceed the play capacity as it currently exists on the site.
Okay. So kind of what you're seeing, can you guys see my pointer?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the existing spray park, and when we were first studying it and trying to leave the playground in its existing location, it really kind of bisected where the new entry is, which we talked about last time, it being located in the new addition and really central between the existing Carnegie and the new addition to keep the service point consolidated and a central point of security. So what that does is doesn't necessarily make the front door visible, but we're setting this up so that it's kind of like it is like a civic plaza, using the spray park, bringing in some new landscaping, and stair, and then creating the ADA access off of 6, along with ADA parking, 10-minute drop off, and book drop. And so, and then also receiving, kind of like recycling and waste receiving up in the southeast corner. You can kind of see the drive up there.
So if you're going to expand the play area, how are you going to do that? I mean, isn't that where the play area is, that green area right
No, it's actually adjacent to the spray park. It's adjacent to the spray park. So if it stayed where it is currently, it would be across the sidewalk.
Okay, I didn't see the swing, so that's
Yep.
what threw me.
Yep, swing and slide. And actually, we're refining that as we're kind of drawing currently with zoning, and we think we can increase that area. And so, we are replacing the slide and swing in the spirit that they are, but yet to meet current code, and then hopefully get some extra capacity with some other play equipment there.
And back on the swing and the slide, we're going to take a look at area. It's up in the air whether that can be done or not.
Okay. All right. So this is kind of just to kind of give a lay of the land. This is ground floor and second floor for option 1. So you can see along here, we're calling this kind of the entry porch. And you come in, voila! And you come into a vestibule, from the site plan, you're entering here and here, with the primary entry being here, but that this extension hooks up with 7th. And you could have an entry here, secondary, or your primary off of 6th. as well as the library staff is committed to keeping a secondary entry through the Carnegie. All right. So again, entry vestibules here. Option 1, we're calling this the atrium. So you're coming into kind of a central lobby or atrium with a service point here that can kind of look, up and across. So main entry, children's area here, support staff here, and community room here. And then the library is being repurposed into kind of a technology center here. This will be book drop sorting, then local history, periodicals, new materials in the existing main room of the Carnegie. Again, really trying to keep that kind of vital and busy and not relegating it to a meeting room, just to keep it, where it's an integral part to the collection and to the library. Right? So the activity of the children's and the community room, keeps the ground floor really active, engages the plaza out here. We've got the park here as well. So very, it's kind of the library, park, and library. So trying to integrate that. Then going upstairs, kind of have a small service point here with nonfiction flanking kind of the overlook here and fiction overlooking here, with more kind of quiet studies, some administrative and teen area here, along with kind of conference or training space. But again, very open, lots of windows overlooking into the park. All right. Kind of a three-dimensional rendering from the corner of John Adams and 6th. Okay, looking at the spray park, this is just, this is summer. We've got the water fountains going. Looking because of, we've been talking both to our civil engineer and landscape engineer to really make the grades work. We would have to replace the existing flat work that's there, to get this grade to meet up with that grade. And so we're looking at kind of enhancing the seat wall here to help us take up some of the grade, adding, a little bosque of trees for shade, and really kind of picture framing that spray park, opening it up on this side so that it's really a 12-month a year, element. You can walk through it, during, from September, to the end of May when the spray park's not active. Which then really engages with kind of the enhanced parking that's along 6th and John Adams. But really trying to create that entry plaza. This is a view looking off of 6th Street, into the entry porch, the atrium here, that we've talked a lot about how the Carnegie engages. So when you come into this space, the back of the Carnegie really becomes kind of the front of the new library. So you're never really away from the Carnegie. And then there's this kind of wonderful conversation or dialogue between the two. Option 1, architecturally, really kind of echoes the Carnegie in terms of proportion and massing. It has kind of the big solid base and kind of the light floaty windows with the crown or entablature on top, trying to really kind of diminish the mass, up here in height. Our addition is almost 2 times as tall, and, 3 times as large in terms of footprint. Play area here. Kind of planting wall that could be softened with more planting. And then just this wonderful access so, you can stroller right up in. Okay, view from 7th. Kind of seeing that atrium space come up and over and hug Carnegie. Porch again, this is kind of the reading area. Again, these spaces are designed to be flexible. Once we get further into library planning, things could move around a little bit, just depending on what fits best where. And then this is a view from the interior. So here's the Carnegie, where you can see this atrium space kind of coming up, and hovering over, kind of entry vestibules off of 7th, and the reading area beyond. Seeing through the park. Just another view, kind of, standing more kind of from the children's vantage point, back into the technology here. Kind of seeing the whole parapet, with the entablature, with the frieze there. And then this being open. Right now we're kind of showing kind of a bar counter, where a lot of people set their laptops up there. You get to see out. So again, the Carnegie's always a part of the library. Mm-hmm. And then upstairs. And that's that kind of training space right here. Down the stairs, you can see over here into the technology, and then up kind of in the treetops. So this is option 2. We call this the overlook. So again, the site development is the same. Kind of this biaxial, entry porch, lesser entry here off of 7th. We've got the parking lot over here. This would not be ADA accessible just because of the existing grades. Carnegie, secondary entry. But then the 2-story library, this one here, the overlook, is that it's kind of maybe one space removed from the Carnegie. So we have this 2-story kind of space that sits just back off the entry vestibule, that then the 2-story space kind of overlooks into, and then overlooks into the Carnegie and the park and the plaza. And this is the floor plan for the overlook. Kind of the development, again, the entries are the same, the development of the Carnegie is the same, but it's this space that's a little bit different. You have your central atrium. This is a 2-story space, even though the community room spills out into kind of a foyer area, reading area. The children's area spills out, kind of story time, smaller reading areas, that kind of thing. And then upstairs, as you come up these stairs right here, you could have these carols or these study areas that actually act like almost like theater balconies that look over and then look over. And these could be enclosed if they needed to be, for acoustic issues. Some of those details we don't quite know yet. Again, this is a little bit more linear building. The square footage is the same between the both, and actually the utilization of them is similar. You could say it's the same. Because we are occupying this space on the ground floor. So then, kind of the same view setup as option 1. This is, again from John Adams and 6th. Kind of looking through the spray park. So you're seeing this 2-story space, kind of picture framing the Carnegie, kind of a neutral, 2-story glass here, with the entry canopy coming through, similar to option 1. Secondary entry there. Kind of the entry from 6th. So you can kind of see through here. You can see kind of there's this brick bar that's kind of expressed, kind of its masonry, kind of load-bearing, with the balconies coming off here, overlooking. So it's kind of a big glass picture frame. Bay window over here, and then the Carnegie. Approach the same. Vestibule's the same. View from 7th. Seeing a little bit more of it here. Okay, and then this is from inside. Again, kind of that service point. Here's the 7th Street vestibule. Here's the stairs that go up. Balconies, that are overhanging, and then the Carnegie here. And in either one of these, we're not sure, how much of that we can open up, and we're just kind of playing with different kind of ways to move through that space. Whether we kind of retain kind of the smaller pilaster or we do larger openings. But you can see here, the other difference here is that the roof of the new building comes and kind of, just nests right above the entablature, so you're not seeing the whole parapet. Because that 2-story space is really expressed kind of from that plane. View from the second level, looking at the stair. This is, right now we've got kind of 2 flanking stairs. So you're seeing the one behind, nonfiction, fiction behind us, and then kind of that reading area and meeting room behind, and then the Carnegie right there.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm, please.
Between the 2 options, which, in your opinion, would be the easier to remove from the Carnegie if you had to?
I think they're...
I'm not sure they're materially different in that aspect.
Because one's just shrouded in glass, right? You've just got like this envelope of glass that frames the back.
Right.
And this one you've got roof coming into it and not seeing as much of it.
I would actually think this one would have least impact on if to remove it.
Yeah, it's
It's
if you had to.
right. So it's probably the easiest structurally. But we're really not touching much of the Carnegie.
Yeah.
And again, like you're seeing this wide opening here. I don't know if you would, if we're actually going to do that or not.
No, but the question has to be asked.
Yes, no, I know. So I would say that they're equal. Yeah.
And in both cases, you're probably going to have a structural joint between the buildings so that they move independently.
Right.
So the kind of dimension of the hyphen has been kept relatively minimal, that kind of connector piece. So that joint would go up to the original brick. And if you ever took it back off, and I don't think either one of these we would be hanging off of the Carnegie in terms of bearing it. Right?
No. It'll all have to cantilever a
It'll be
little
structurally
Right.
independent.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why this one's actually probably a little bit easier than the other one that kind of comes up and over. Okay. Oops, sorry. I'll go back.
But you're kind of asking us which one we would prefer.
Nope, not yet. I'm not done
Okay.
yet. We do want to know which one you prefer. Of course, we do.
Right now.
No.
Because
So
are you going to come back to public hearing with 2 options?
No.
So you're looking for
We're
some
show-
kind of direction on one of them.
And then we're just showing you what we've shown everyone else, and then the result of that. So this is the last slide, and this is again kind of this 2-story space, the overlook. You just remove that little bit. So the idea here is that no matter where you are in this scheme, you're always seeing the Carnegie. Because you've got this kind of wide aperture.
Yeah.
And so that was the presentation that we made to the group. And I guess with this presentation, we met first at the open house at the library, and probably a split.
Well, there wasn't really enough people to get a feel for it.
Right, but for the people that we had, I mean, they were very taken with both.
50-50.
And felt like both had really, good opportunities. And then we met with Prack and McLaughlin
on the same night.
Same evening, because we spent a lot of time talking about actually moving, or leaving the existing play equipment. And we just really could not create a very good solution to the ADA issue off of 6, which really presents itself with the most accessible parking and drop off, for book drop or, quick things, because it really just bisects the site. And so there was a lot of discussion with McLaughlin and Parks and Recreation about the impact of that, because that had a lot of importance in previous discussions. So it was decided that with the caveat, that you not reduce it and you replace the existing, if we have to replace the existing, that it be code compliant and be in the spirit of what is there. So that was those 2 meetings. Then we met with city commissioners and their selection, because that was option 1 for city commission, and with McLaughlin neighborhood.
McLaughlin, they didn't really make any decisions or anything, because that's for later, but of the people who were there probably preferred option 1 that said something. The city commission, as Joan just said, it was a work session, but informally it was unanimous that they preferred option 1, and the library board supported option 1.
Got it. But you're looking to us right now for some sort of, which we would prefer, like the others. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this?
Is this suggesting a panelized brick system?
No.
Okay,
No.
just see the vertical lines.
Yeah, that's probably just control joints. These are pretty. These are still pretty schematic.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I wanted to, one thing I wanted to remind everybody is you kind of have 2 hats on tonight. You always have your, traditional land use design advice. So always let them know if you feel that both options could potentially be approved by the board or by you, please let them know. And then you kind of wear your other hat, which is your appointed board of the city, and you provide historic advice to the city commission. So you kind of have, do you feel comfortable approving either option through the quasi-judicial process? And then if you have kind of my other hat of this is my design recommendations by the historic review board, you can do that, and both can exist simultaneously.
I can go the SketchUp model too, if that would help. Can fly around a little bit.
Well, for me anyway, I look at number 1, it's very traditional. Number 2 is very modern. And this one is more akin to sticking with the theme of the library, and it's beautiful. Actually, they're both fantastic in my opinion.
I like them both too.
I don't know.
I think they're both approvable. Option 1 has some nice qualities, and option 2 does as well. I think built out, option 2 would actually be much more attractive, provided that the upper termination of the brick was dealt with some articulation.
Oh,
At least
on number 2.
Right now, it's schematic, so it just
Right.
ends. I don't think option 1, the upper termination going around the white portion, I would love to see some detail about that. I want to get to that point. The thing that I saw as perhaps a drawback of option 2 was, I can't remember off the top of my head if there are HVAC units on top of the roof, which
That
I
one
think...
actually, we'll have units on top of the roof.
Okay.
We're
It's
representing, this is a parapet, the other one has a
Existing
parapet.
parapet.
on the existing roof.
Oh, on the existing roof?
Because
Yes,
if the
we do.
overlook is overlooking a whole bunch of units with a lot of screening,
Right.
that's not very attractive.
Right.
And I'm sure you could come down and through to supply that building, but if that wasn't changed, it would be less than it could be. And in any case, either of these 2 options, screening, not just having screens around it, but it's a more thoughtful way of screening those supply units, as I've said before. Let's see here. Our preview is the exterior of the building, but what I will say is if you drive by the existing Carnegie Center at nighttime, it does glow, and that has to do with some of the interior finishes and how it's painted. So I hope that there's some thought carried through to the addition in the tones that are used on the interior to keep that
Yes.
same tone.
That's it.
As well as the the glazing that is specified. Because if those are off, it's going to be really obvious. Let's see here. The glass to entablature detail. Right now it's schematic and very intriguing. When it comes before the board, it'd be great to see how that actually works out, because it's not going to look like that.
You mean in terms of
You're going to box out the entablature, or you're going to bring that wall all the way down. I don't see that glass actually cutting through that entablature. So it'd be nice to know how you're actually going to treat that.
Okay.
That was part of, I guess, my question, more of, how does that apply? How is it removed?
Yeah. And for schematic, that's
tough.
great. But I'm just
Looks
letting you
good.
know when you come back, that's one of the questions we're going
Right,
to
but
have.
we got
challenging
it.
detail.
It is a very
Yeah.
challenging detail, but we do have to make it weather tight.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this option shows a much more traditional design with a very modern connection between the two with that glass, whereas number two, it's like a more modern design, but with a traditional connection.
I wish. Sorry about this. There.
So
Right here.
right there, that's a bit traditional, whereas the other one has a much more modern look. And so this one has a great look to it. It definitely says this is an addition. It's not trying to mirror. So if I was leaning, I'd probably lean toward this, but that's where I'm at, just because it definitely says this is an addition, and
different.
this is secondary to the Carnegie, even though it's bigger in mass. But if it was to be separated, it can be. And the other one looks fantastic, but it's the same thing as, it's kind of an echo of the Carnegie. So I agree with Derek. Both could be approved. They really could.
Now, and I understand why other folks and other groups would look at this option here and approve of this one.
It's so
the
much
top-
easier. There you go. And it's a
That's
little bit
cool.
easier to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The top of the brick, kind of correlating with the top of the existing Carnegie, it helps keep those proportions in play. And so I definitely see that as far as quality of space. I still agree. I still think that the other option would have a better outcome and feeling of the space on the interior. I am curious, for these canopies coming out the side for the main entry, what is that constructed of? Is that steel? Is that wood? What are you thinking?
Oh, you
Probably
walkway.
Yeah,
we
this
don't.
walkway.
I bet it
This
was
right
steel.
here.
Probably steel.
I assume
Most
so.
likely steel.
Okay.
Could
Yeah,
have.
this
you
looks
know,
cool.
It could have some, wood on the
Definitely.
underside of the canopy, or don't know yet.
Well, I don't know. We can all express our opinions.
I like them both, I really do.
Thank you.
But I aesthetically, I'm more of a traditionalist, I guess. I like the option one. It's different enough to where I don't think it's going to be mistaken as part of the original building. I think that it's different enough to be a new addition, and everybody could tell it's a new addition.
Can you show the view from up 7th for both of them?
I think that's 3. Oops, I got that one.
That looks nice.
That.
So this is what most of the public is going to,
Yeah.
passerby will be seeing.
And then option 2.
That's option 2.
Yeah, option 2 has more glass, which I kind of really like, because
Can the city afford both of these? I mean, let's get, because it would be a shame to see one of these go from all glass to glass with panels in the middle, because that really changes.
Well,
So-
we've got the Oregon Energy Code, and I think we're limited to 30%, of the area. I mean, we've all, as I think we were talking to the city commissioners, we're 30% through SD, schematic design.
Yeah.
And, at the end of January, we'll be 100%, but then we have design development, construction documents, and we're doing cost analysis along, each one. I think I think we can, I mean, that's to be told, but this one's also very aggressive in its glazing,
Yeah.
And
It's a very modern look.
so, we've still got to vet things out.
Yeah. This looks a lot more expensive to me. FYI.
But
Well, I have concerns about that much glass for different reasons, but.
Yeah.
it's,
So,
I don't know, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I think they're both viable.
I do too.
If I was a betting guy, and I would go with number 2 just because
Yeah.
but then this one looks great
but
too.
I think the centerpiece is going to be more difficult than the other one, because this is right now what we're doing is we're setting up structure to kind of carry these spaces, because they just kind of have to come up and touch.
Well,
Okay.
I guess if we're thinking they're both viable, then it's, I guess when we get an email with the packet, we'll know which one we're going to be talking about.
Right.
Okay, well, does anybody else have any other questions? Keep this.
My only comment about this one is that it just looks a little bit. There's a lot going on in terms of visually with this connection, but I like the fact that on the back side that you can see the entire Carnegie, versus the other one has the roof that's coming right to the bottom of the cornice or whatever you're calling it.
Oh, yeah.
And it just looks a little
Looks like if they-
stunted on the inside with the roof detail. I don't know if there's a way to sort of
But I guess
choose option A here and option B there, but just the connection on this one just looks a little bit, and maybe it's just the aerial view of it.
Oh, I mean, I think, to slide this in kind of under, is much easier to solve aesthetically outside. But it has its drawbacks on the interior. And I think that part of option 1 was the fact that it really brings the Carnegie, it really knits the addition
Pulls it
and
in
the
the
Carnegie
space.
together.
yeah, for sure. Okay.
So you're as it's even better, than now, because you get to be in and out of the Carnegie inside,
Not yet.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. That was helpful. This cruising around it was awesome.
Yeah, great.
That was great.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
What's next, Christina?
Next is everyone crosses their fingers as I touch the screen for this computer to get back here. I'm not joking when I say that.
Very quiet crowd.
They're here for something.
All right, Renee, are you going to help me?
We're just doing design advice, man. I'm not talking to anybody, as far as I can hope.
I actually can't move. This thing's locked down.
Well, you guys got lucky, but
What?
it might be.
Well,
Switch it, it'll take 2 minutes, then switch off.
but I can't use that because this is locked down.
See, you will switch, but if it just takes a while.
Well, hold on. If I do this function,
here?
no. HRB, do you see something on your screen?
No.
Black. Where's the true off again?
We've never had this problem.
The
before.
rage that is inside me right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Jonathan has something on his.
I'm just looking at the packet.
Yeah, you may. The fact that the touch screen is not actually relaying the. I want to believe that our technology
We
will
can
not fail us.
just open the file and look at it.
Yeah, you may have to. We don't necessarily need copies. It. No. All right. So why don't we have Todd Eisen come up while we're working on it? If you want to open up applicant submittal
Okay.
on your packet. So this BC Custom Homes came in front of the Historic Review Board in 2008 for a new 2-story or 1.5-story vernacular office building that would replace a house that had previously had a gas explosion. It was directly across from St. John the Apostle Church. And today, when you drive by, you'll see that it has chain link. The applicant received approval by the Historic Review Board, but it never went through site plan and design review, and then the recession went in full force. And so the applicant and owner are back and do want to move their office to this location and use the same design package that Eisen Architects put together in 2008. So what you see...
I was going to ask. I don't think,
no, you didn't.
I don't think you did it. Did you, Todd?
I'm sorry.
No, but they
No.
would like to use the same
Right.
exterior design, basically. The interior is going to be significantly different.
Apologize. That was 6 years ago. Sorry. So I'm going to hand it over, but
Okay, so what now? My view.
it was the Historic Review Board did approve it. I'm going to hand it back. We can.
Bueno.
I'm not sure what you guys are looking at on the screen, but what the applicant would like to do is they would like to proceed with the same exterior and the same site design that they had previously done. The architect and the civil engineer that did the work originally are both out of business now, and so we've been asked to kind of step in and take it over.
Have you made any changes at all to anything?
We haven't done anything at this time, and that's why I'd like to come before you guys and get your input and, if there anything
Yeah.
you would like to see. I mean, we'd like to see the windows broken up, have a little more spacing in between those double windows. It's kind of a minimum.
I'm sorry.
Probably get rid of the stone on the columns also.
That was my first thing was that's got to go.
Yeah.
There's no way that's going to jive in the neighborhood or even as a historic home.
Do my best.
I mean, the style of house that they were looking for, it's basically just a big box. But I couldn't tell. I mean, what's the siding, Todd? Is it just Hardy?
It's hardy.
What about in the gables? What's that? Hardy shingles?
That's what they had proposed.
And these are 1/1s, or is there going to be any grids in the? It's just
They
like
were proposed to just be 1/1.
1/1. So definitely you would do something different with the columns. I mean, that stuff really probably should be brick.
Or wood.
Or wood.
Mhm.
Just a traditional column that's akin to this style, right?
Right. That's what we'd prefer to see.
'Cause this just looks like a subdivision house.
It looks like a house, exactly.
Yeah.
I can keep moving if you want me to show.
No,
Oh, fantastic.
So here we'll start. This is the
I was trying to do it dinosaur style here.
Center
site
Street.
next to Center Street. It has to the right is, I think, the only prairie style home in the city, which
There's actually one on Division.
It has like a 412 roof pitch, like very.
Yeah,
Very shallow.
but this is
right,
this is
but it's one of the few, anyways.
yeah, this is something you'd see in Pasadena.
Mhm.
Actually, it's right here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. So you're gonna have the big
we-
box next to it.
Yeah. Whatever we do is going to stand out.
Yeah, because it's a
And this
pretty
is
small
the-
building right there.
Property on the other side.
Yeah, that's a hot
anything we
building.
do there is going to improve that building. So.
Can you, if you're going to come before the board with this and some changes, can you do a elevation of the street? In other words, the bungalow, your thing, and that
We
thing from the
definitely would.
60s.
And
Can we
that's
have
required for commercial
Yeah.
development.
Okay, because all around it, I think we need to see. because of
That
the
wasn't done
massing.
previously, and that's part of the reason I'm here is find out exactly what we need to do for.
Just so you can see the massing of it,
Mhm.
because it's hard to tell how this gauges to what's next to it. But
And this is the
Comparison.
side elevation nearest the 60s building.
so they're going to have
Center
this,
Street.
and then the parking lot.
And this is the
Back.
elevation next to the
The
very
Craftsman?
Craftsman building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
And
very-
then this is
but
the parking lot elevation.
the back. What's I
Yeah,
can't.
what
What's
is
that
that
black
large
thing?
black on the bottom right of this
What's
elevation?
that say?
That is for their garbage enclosure, basically. It's a recess under the stairway there.
Oh,
Yeah, since they were office building, they really just had pullaways. They didn't have to have a
Okay.
large commercial.
What's that? Do you know what the pitch is? It's like 10?
Um,
Can you go to this there?
Looks
like a
like
9.
Oh, it's fuzzy. 9?
912.
Can I ask just a question on a house like this? And I'm just spitballing, but with a house like that could have been built 1890s, something like that, could the foundation act as like a brick water tank, could it have a veneer on it to try and keep this? I don't know. It's just a thought. If it's a commercial building, could they, or is it going to be so low to the ground you really won't see it anyway?
Well, we
It
got
looks
to
like
make it
there's some kind of-
accessible, and we're fighting the ramp right now that accesses it to the back. So
Gotcha.
I don't want to raise it up any.
You want to keep it down low, but there's
Right.
some sort of water table. It looks like
There is.
okay,
You have to elevate it to get a porch at the front there.
right.
Yeah. I appreciate your comments about breaking up the larger windows for consistency, taking out the brick, or excuse me, the stone, in favor of columns that fit the neighborhood a little bit better. And
Maybe not so many
not so many what?
columns.
I would welcome that.
I think you could take out the middle ones here and spread it out a little bit
Mhm.
more and have a little beefier column.
Well, and have something that's got a rhythm that matches the windows.
Right.
Yes.
Right in front of the windows.
Is that a bay window that projects out?
Looks like it.
It is.
Comes out a foot or something like
Mhm.
that? And that's just like a hip roof on it. Is that what it is? Hmm.
So is the style of this supposed to be vernacular?
It is.
If you took out the railings and just made the columns simpler all the way down to the floor, would that be against code? Since it's so low to the ground anyway, would you need to have those railings and those balusters there?
I think we could probably make that work.
Yeah, I just think that
Is it
it
less than
would-
18 inches?
Hmm? These right here?
No, I mean the elevation difference, right? The
Jonathan?
42-inch railings only come in with 18 inches or greater. Is that what it is?
I just think it would look
30.
more traditional
Actually, 30
It's
inches.
30 inches.
Oh.
that you need- or you need
if you
the
didn't
handrail.
have those.
And then
That's
it's
Mhm.
just 36 inches tall for
Oh.
a handrail.
simpler.
No, I think that would be great.
Right now, I mean, these are kind of basic elevations, but it seems really top heavy. But
In what way?
I don't know, it just seems like there's a lot of massing above the porch roof, but it just could be the drawings. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why comparison would help to look and see what it's
Yeah.
up against, you know.
I agree.
Change out the front door to something a little bit more appropriate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was just
Yeah,
a
and
block
that-
that was thrown in there.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like big windows on either side or something. I mean, you'd do something there, wouldn't you?
I think we would, yeah.
Yeah. So would you have to redraw all this stuff?
We're going to have to anyways.
Yeah.
So
Got it. And when are you looking to come?
we'd like to come back next month.
Todd has all the dates.
We'll be here.
He's been advised.
Okay.
We need to
Some
get
of
before
us.
the McLaughlin.
Oh, yeah.
And
Those guys.
Denise McGriff turned in comments. She actually is simultaneously doing planning commission reviews.
You
Planning
can have a
Commission
comment, but
interviews?
we're not going to have anybody come and talk, right?
Okay.
No. No. Does anybody else have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Does that help you?
Yes, it helps
Okay.
tremendously.
Okay.
Okay.
That's probably what you're thinking anyway.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
Todd.
What's next?
Okay. All right. Let me get this.
Kanema?
1 second. If you want to come on up, Reagan.
What's with
So
my
this is
screen?
the second design advice for this property. And as you recall, this is in the Kenema National Register District. It also has 2 additional overlay districts on it. It's a highly constrained lot of record in our water resource overlay code, and they'll be going through a type 2 staff review for that and the mitigation as part of that process, as well as being in the geologic hazard overlay. And as you recall from other Kenema projects, in the geologic hazard overlay, simultaneous, and in talking to the owner, I do know that he has a high desire to sink this house as much as he can into the ground. However, there are costs associated with that, and also potentially large boulders associated with that.
He wants to dig in deeper.
He wants to have it deeper. So I know the Historic Review Board we probably all, we want it as well. The more you can drop that basement garage into the grade, the less impact you have. So as we move forward, I've recommended, keeping your understanding of both issues. The last thing we want is have an elevation approved, go through geotech, basically find out we got to raise this X feet because the solution can't happen, and then they got to go back to the board. So that's something for him to think of. As I said, make sure that you really understand if this. I felt less concerned about approving a higher grade, and then we all celebrate by him being able to go 2 or 3 feet lower, rather than the other direction. So that's going to be there as he moves forward, and he knows that. Kind of being able to understand both of those simultaneous issues. So the applicant has come back. The architect, Greg, is here. He feels that he's responded to your comments from the fall, and I can go through if you want to tell me which slide, and I can kind of give it over to Greg.
You have the photos queued up, and
Yeah, I have the whole packet, so just more of...
But they're all sideways.
I'll change it just a second. Let me know.
you want me to?
There we go. I
Okay.
can go through the photos if you
All
want me
right.
first.
Yeah, unfortunately, the PDFs look like they're sideways, but
We can go
okay.
through
Good
this.
evening, commissioners. Thanks once again for hearing us out. We were here about 3 months ago and visited with you about this site. 716 4th Avenue is just to the right of this shot right here. It's a double lot. The site we're hoping to build on is directly behind to the south up there where the words new home are. We took to heart your comments in regards to the design of this new residence. The owners, the builder, and I have met 2 or 3 times since then, refining this design in response to your comments. The site is a difficult one with NROD and geohazard reviews required in addition to the historic review. Vehicle and pedestrian access to the site, the narrow building area is problematic due to the presence of the stream and vacated 5th Avenue. I'm not sure if it's officially vacated, is it? 5th?
The alley or the
Fifth.
Fifth? No, Fifth is not vacated.
Not officially
No.
vacated.
All the
Oh.
streets in Kenema exist. Very few are vacated.
Okay.
They're alleys.
Still very difficult to access with 5th Avenue. The let's see. While there are not many homes in Kenema with garages placed underneath, there are a couple. I spotted one down on 3rd Avenue, just below this site, that is not included with the packet here, but I do have a photo of it right here.
Exhibit 1.
This looks like this is a new construction, I think from the 80s.
It's not a historic home.
Right.
Man, I'm living
Steep
in the
sites
80s.
often require this type of solution, and it came pretty early on in our discussions that that would be an appropriate solution for this, given the access difficulties and the approach from 4th. In the submittal materials, there are many photos of properties in the immediate area. The Nuthall House and the Davis House are adjacent. There's the Davis House right there at 702. And that's Draper. That's below the site at 707. And the Nuthall House at 803 5th Avenue. These are homes that we studied, but with no intention to try to replicate, but to complement. The front elevation is on Blanchard Street. The address for this home will be on Blanchard. Due to the ravine and the side slope, the home will appear like a 1.5 story or a 2 story.
Go to the slides. So sorry, keep talking.
Take a look at the option C of the Blanchard elevation. That'd be west. Garage doors are on the side, on the north elevation, and will not be visible from a straight-on view from Blanchard at all. From 4th Avenue, the porch posts will be 110 feet back from 4th Avenue, completely across the first lot. And then in this view here,
This is option B. Let me go to option A.
You can see it. Awesome.
That's option A.
one to option C. There's the Blanchard side. That's good for discussion right now. On the left side of this illustration, the front face of those porch posts will be 110 feet back from 4th Avenue, just 10 feet into the new property, basically, because the site there on 4th is 100 feet deep. The first garage door is 5 feet back from those posts, and the second garage door is an additional 5 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's go to option C. Scroll down. I've included a few other options, and I'll go through those in a few minutes. There we go. This is the elevation that we feel is most appropriate. I've included the other options to show you the process we went through in getting here. Some of your comments from the last meeting were that the gable that faced Blanchard Street should be wider and be the predominant gable shape, which we did. We expanded it from 17 feet to 22 feet and then continued that roof line all the way through. So the highest ridge line you see in this illustration is a 22-foot gable shape that now runs all the way through the house. So that gable form is expressed both on the east and west elevations. Go back to the Blanchard Street elevation. There. So the gable form you see there facing Blanchard is the one that was widened. We also eliminated a sizable section of what was a wraparound porch on 3 sides. Now it's just on 2. It's on the Blanchard and the 4th side. Where you see the lady stooped over there, that's where the porch was eliminated. Another element we are using is by lowering the wall heights of that gable facing Blanchard, we give it that 1.5 story look. That's pretty typical with the vernacular style. And then you see the wall line on the upper story is pushed back 3 feet from that to give the impression of an addition. And it's also pretty common with this style. The Marshall House, which is photo number 18.
Hi. Can I ask you a question?
You bet.
Do I even dare use this? This is awesome. That right there,
Right.
we're at a different height. Where am I seeing?
No, wrong illustration.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
maybe.
Look at that.
And can we also just clarify that the aspect ratio on the projection screen and the monitor are different than ours here? So I'm thinking what we're seeing on our screens is the true. These are actually squished.
Oh, I see it is. It's
Um,
almost level there, but it
Yes,
looks
right
really,
here,
really
You've got 2 different
disproportionately
heights of
higher.
ridge line. And on our drawing, it's quite accentuated. It's like that one right there. Can I-
It's because Christina's using a 4:3 monitor, and this screen is stretching it wider.
Yeah, so essentially the roof line here
doesn't match.
is 12 to 18 inches taller than this roof line here.
We go back to this elevation.
Yeah, I'm
That
trying to
one's-
see.
Don't look at that one.
Yeah, that's different.
That doesn't belong to this. That's
Different.
option.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
it's gotta
sorry.
go
I
to B,
apologize.
C.
There's too many
It's
options
okay.
here. So this is the elevation we're looking
Yeah,
at.
these are
Yeah.
some options.
So we can see that this difference here, when looking at it from
This is the dotted line of the gable on the other side.
Correct.
Yeah, and so this guy's sticking up.
That's why it's different.
It just looks so.
That's
Oh,
There's
odd.
actually three things going on there. As John pointed out, the highest portion of the roof is the 22-foot wide gable that you see on Blanchard running
Uh-huh.
straight through. On the 4th Avenue side, that's about a 17-foot gable, which is why it's shorter.
Yeah,
And then around the other side, you've got a 612 piece. That's the dash line you see there.
that's
And,
of the gable that you
face-
see from Blanchard.
Yeah, the side
yeah.
view. Mhm. If those ridge lines need to be the same, they certainly can be made that way.
I would suggest that.
Was it even going to be perceptible, though? I mean, from a perspective, since they are different pitches. I mean, how
I can't remember. Did we ask him to bring a comparison to this house?
I don't remember.
I can't remember, Christina. Did we ask them to bring us a comparison drawing of this house to some of the other existing houses in the area?
And those were the photos that he showed
Oh,
you.
but I meant the drawing, side by side drawing.
No, that would be more of that's a submittal requirement. But,
Oh.
design advice,
Great.
not.
Can we go to that Blanchard side of C? I was curious. Yeah. So that gable, right now, then the perpendicular gable, it sets back, you said 3 feet. But at the main level, it doesn't.
Correct.
Wait. How,
Do another side elevation, like here?
You're not going to be able to see that at
no,
all.
I guess where I'm getting confused is on that side view where you have that upper story setting back. Setting, like, let me see your thingamajig. Should have had this years ago. So right here,
Mm-hmm.
this you said sits back 3 feet,
Yes.
but this is one plane right here.
Yes.
So if this sits back 3 feet, what happens over here?
We'll have to look at the
Can we,
Is that elevation?
at the other
Side.
elevation.
Yeah, that hip roof just covers it.
Where is it? Is this, no?
Indeed.
That one.
There we go.
so this is where it comes back.
There you see it.
The roof hides all that.
Right.
Right here.
So there's the 3-foot offset.
Right, this guy. And this is where the front facade is, and this comes back. And, okay. And what's this again? 6?
6.
Seems pretty low.
What are you
So-
talking about, low?
Low pitch. Right here.
It's distortion.
But it's a 6. A house like this, would it have
No.
a 612 historically?
We did 612 on the addition for, I should check, sorry, Mr. Heinz, I know we had the differentiation of the,
That's why I was asking. if
yeah,
we've
I
done
can
that
check that.
before. Okay. And sorry. These are they all 1/1 windows? I was not
Yes.
paying attention to the windows.
They were next to each other. They had them two next to each other. Double.
I understand while we're here and looking at it,
Yeah.
there's a bay window popping out there on the
Yeah.
right side, and then you can see it in the straight-on view for the
Yeah, that
east elevation. Going right there.
Yeah, that doesn't go. To me, I don't know. Do you think it goes? Shouldn't it be just like a box?
The request from the owner, and they're aware that that's
But it should be like
not.
Well, if it's a box, traditionally on a Craftsman or a bungalow, if you had a bump out, it would be a box. This is probably like a 45-ish
It's-
kind of looking
yeah,
thing.
It's big,
But that would be maybe something that you might see on a Victorian.
right?
but probably not on a vernacular.
Right. And the owners are willing to look at other options there.
It could be a tripartite window. You've got something in the middle that maybe the sides are, but I don't know. You've got 3 windows here on this one side.
Yeah, that's
Are those mullioned together, or is that?
They're ganged.
Okay, so they're mullioned together, so they're one big window. And likewise with the window above, correct? Any windows together, they're going to be mullioned. They're not going to be individual.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think more than that, this condition here is pretty atypical. And then we've got this portion extending then further out.
That's hanging out over the porch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a line missing in that open porch. I
Like
see.
it should go up and
Yep.
down?
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that.
Right there or out here?
Oh,
Is there 2 lines?
Where's this wall?
yeah, right about there. Mm-hmm.
But is
So
there
it's in
one,
line with the garage,
Yeah.
but not this
but
one?
not out here. So this cantilever's out.
Right.
That cantilever's out. The roof covers that
Right. It's kind of buried into the roof line.
Right.
So the porch is much shallower than you're showing it there.
I'm sorry.
The porch is much shallower than you're showing it there, or
It kind of has 2 parts. It's L-shaped, so you walk around the house at the. It's hard to explain, but it has 2 different depths. Yes. A bit deeper on the left side.
Can the windows be separated so they're not mullioned together like?
We have framing in between there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Great. Not a problem.
Yeah. They've got to be separated. Can we go to the Blanchard side, Christina, please? Yeah, so these are all, and we've got something that's right where that, don't move your hand. Right there. We've got a blank there,
There's a
that
stairway right there.
stairway.
So the upper window is in the stairway landing, and but the landing itself would be right where the little hand is.
Gotcha. Those little windows on the upper right, what are they for? A bathroom?
Laundry room. Yeah.
Laundry room. Can those be separated?
Yes.
And what does that say there? That pitch, is that 12? Is that what it says?
12, 12.
12 on the. Yeah.
Oh, better, yeah, okay. It looks like the porch, I don't know, I can't read what it says. What's the porch roof?
Sorry. That was when you.
2. Will that have shingle on it?
Yeah.
So we have a 212 pitch at the porch. We have a 612 pitch at the
This thing,
Right side.
right
at
side.
this portion. We have a 1212 here,
Mhm.
and then we have a 1012 here. That's what
My
I'm seeing on the
intention
drawings.
was to make that a 12-12 also.
Okay. So then this portion will actually come up higher than what we're seeing here. Because currently it's illustrated as a 1012.
Let's look at the 4th Avenue elevation again. That one. Looks like it says
Sorry.
12.
You're doing super.
Well, I tried to zoom in and then you can't scroll with the zoom in very well.
Right there.
That's a 12-12.
Well,
What were you thinking it was?
Doesn't look like a 12, 12 though.
It's pretty steep.
That's different than what I have in the packet.
What's on your, oh, you have a 10? Or what option, though?
I mean,
actually, one of the other options does have a 10.
Right,
You got to be
okay.
careful
Oh,
which
okay.
one you're looking at.
I apologize. Okay, that makes me feel better. Because that many different pitches, that seemed
Busy.
very strange. But if at
Um,
least we're keeping some consistency there.
So this
That's good.
option is what the owner would prefer,
Option
correct?
C is our what we feel meets.
Also, I'd like to see something about the garage doors. If you're planning on keeping them, I don't really think they go with the house.
With a panel door like that.
Would go with it.
Hmm?
I don't know what you would, what would
Well,
you
they
do?
maybe carriage doors would go better. These just look a little too,
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
modern.
Carriage.
We'd probably want to go with something really simple rather than,
These windows need
there's
to
a
You know,
be
carriage
variety.
doors or-
There's a variety of carriage doors that you can get from the simple to the elaborate. But
we'd probably bail on the multi-panel and just go with a simple crease, just not draw attention to it at all.
So all these windows would need to be separated. That would be a help. The columns, there needs to be a detail on what that column and handrail looks like, a section, front, a detail on how that comes together. Like Derek said, the columns underneath the garage, they're pretty beefy because they're probably structural. But the main level need to be in proportion, something that's not scrawny. I don't know how else to say it. Maybe you could draw on some inspiration from the neighborhood.
Notice that in the previous submittal, maybe you remember 3 months ago, we had turn columns.
Mhm.
And the owners didn't like them. There's plenty of precedent in Kenema for that. Some of the columns are highly elaborate. They have brackets.
Vernacular has all types:
Right.
square, round, all the classical, and then they have brackets.
And there's quite a few of the eased corner ones, like the Davis house next door has a 6x6, but the edges have been taken off. They're eased.
Yeah.
So in section, it's kind of a octagon, if you will.
Right. Yeah, they just took off and sliced and then came out.
Exactly. That's pretty
Yeah.
common.
Yeah. There's something that's inevitable in what we have here, because there's this rhythm down here and then a totally different rhythm that's going on the second floor. You've got these large openings that we're taking into account, and this column kind of jumps over to each side to flank the door. It just doesn't feel like it's speaking the same language.
I think.
I don't want to mess up your interior by putting that out, but typically it would have some consistency going up in 3.
And can you go over that a little bit more with me in more detail?
So, traditionally, the structure of a home, specifically in an older home, would have some logic. It would go from roof down.
Same size column all the way down?
Not necessarily the same size column, but the load path would be very consistent. Frankly, because the people constructing it weren't all that sophisticated, and they knew it had to go from top to bottom. And so seeing a column do this sort of thing is pretty atypical. So I don't want to mess up your interior because you've got a door here and you've got window here and window here. And, you're kind of limited on where you can put these doors.
I could
But-
I could easily get by with a single column straight up from that, but it's right in line with the door.
Yeah, but I bet 99% of the time that door's never going to get used.
It's a secondary door for sure.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with the planes, like the depth of where things are. So what's the most forward plane?
The face of the columns,
Oh,
Okay, and then the next most forward plane?
the upper gable.
Okay, and then the next most forward plane?
Oh, and then the right side of the main level. Drop your hand down 1 story. That one there.
Oh, wait, so is that a different plane than the bit that's up there?
Yeah. On
Would
the
it help
right?
If we switched back to the Blanchard.
Yeah. Okay, so they're coplanar with the first and second floor on there,
Yeah, those are in the same plane.
but there's something going on the back side.
On the
want the
left
pointer?
side of the.
Huh?
You want the pointer?
Sure.
It's pretty awesome.
This right here.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to understand is, so this sticks out.
That
So
cantilevers.
this is all in line, garage straight up, which makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Then this sticks out, but the backside, so there's another like porch thing that kind of tucks behind the volume here.
Yes. We
Which-
can see that from the east elevation, and I can point it out on the north elevation.
This one.
There is the pop-out bay on the
So-
right there. Mhm.
So this line's incorrectly drawn. It's
Mm.
supposed to be here.
No, that line belongs there also where her hand is, but there's a line missing just to the
That's-
right there. right directly down from the hand, right there.
Which goes in line with the garage.
Correct, just like the other elevation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the part of the whole presentation that I'm struggling the most with. Is this part right here? In terms of trying to understand.
Yeah,
But I get it now in terms of like what's
right where the little hand is, there should be a pair of lines running straight up to line up with the others right there. Mm-hmm. Right
Can we
there.
take a look at this elevation over here real fast?
Front or
Garage elevation.
Garage elevation.
Okay.
All right.
And
So that,
those two, you see how there's the two windows, and then to the right and left side, there's a piece of 4-inch trim right there?
Yeah.
That's a pop-out bay off the living room.
That's a box.
so
How far out?
deepest, next deepest, closest.
No,
How much of a bump out is that?
2 feet.
So the porch narrows right there.
Correct.
How deep is the porch at the front door?
It is in line with the left side. Maybe I can use a pointer or something.
Do you mind?
yeah, that's fine.
Convenient. Let's see here. Okay, the porch posts are the closest thing to you.
Yeah.
This wall here is 4.5 feet back from the post. And it lines up with this wall, and that one, and that one, and that one.
Okay.
This one pops out 2 feet, and this one is also in line with that one.
Got it.
Oh, okay,
So it's
okay,
4
okay.
feet.
Oh,
4 feet back.
get it now.
So is that dining room window pop out
On the
at the
left.
same plane as the upper?
Oh, the cantilever?
Yeah, is this the same plane as that?
They might be. Let's look at the side elevation there. on that level.
Which one?
It would be the east. No.
But again, we still have a line over here.
This is where a SketchUp model would be very helpful.
Yeah, actually, I am planning on bringing a SketchUp model to
A lot of them in non-primary elevations.
And this is a non-primary elevation. I think it's an extra 6.
So knowing the applicant wants to move forward with a application as the next steps, kind of what I'm hearing from the board, maybe I'll try to summarize. I know it is a requirement and there is a request to show how the house, both on Fourth and Blanchard, interact with the existing homes. So that is a requirement to do a topographic view. I'm also hearing some concern about the elevation.
What is a topographic view?
Like showing the true
Or
height.
like a section
Here's
of the
the
site?
other
Okay.
buildings.
Like,
Yeah, but relating to the other homes on Blanchard and Fourth.
go ahead and enter this into the record too.
What's your goal to come next month?
Well, I think there's a 40-day.
Well,
Can we even get into next
well,
month?
the deadline to get in the January meeting is about a week and a half. So
Probably not January.
Is there enough time to get in for January or no?
yeah, I can give you the dates.
Okay.
That's up.
Yeah.
That diagram I just sketched up to show you the view line from 4th Avenue looking up the proposed driveway, and gives you an idea how much of the garage you'll see from down there.
Very
Yeah,
little.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very helpful to see that side. Does anybody else have any other questions? Jonathan? No?
No questions necessarily. I'm not as concerned about this as the rest of the board is. I agree with their comments. Non-primary elevation, so this is fine. This kind of gets me a little bit. And we've commented on this not being traditional, specifically on that project reviewed on the top of the hill, where we still allowed something similar to this. There's more than just not this wall being shown here that's inaccurate, but I think I understand what you're getting at, and I'm glad I understand the roof pitches better now. I think that all works out. But yeah, I think this should be in line.
Yeah, can you make
Those
those
two.
roofs so they look in a plane straight?
Would you recommend, I hate to introduce another roof pitch, but would I narrow the gable down to lower that? Or would I increase the pitch of the back roof to match the front?
Well, right now I believe you have.
I was
It's
going to go
moving.
here. Is that more helpful?
Can you bring that? You
no.
could bring that other pitch
No.
up. That's what I would recommend. Going from a 6 to a whatever that pitch is to maybe achieve
Probably
that.
one notch, a 712 would bring it up even.
And that's as far as cost nominal,
Yeah.
if that anything.
I looked at Mr. Heinz's proposal, and he had a 612 smaller side addition, and the
Okay.
main house
Was
pitch
steeper.
was 1012. But
Okay.
it's almost flipped again, right? The addition was a smaller one,
Right.
and then the main house was
Remember
the
that.
1012.
But
I would almost rather see this mimic the pitch on the other side. It would be a similar vocabulary going all the way through.
that pitch.
Yeah,
So this thing would be a 612 here.
I think that would make sense.
Yeah, I would.
How would
This
that
come
look,
up
though?
where-
Could you? Yeah. Well, actually, it would probably be a little bit more in proportion with the overall front if that was flattened out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Could you do that?
Bring me up to speed. I kind of
This
lost
front where it says 1212,
it. Yeah,
could that be a 612?
right? It'd be significantly lower than what it is now.
Correct.
Well, you could take these. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, you'd have to raise the plate. I don't know. I don't like how.
Well, here's something I can do real easily is set that whole thing down just a little bit more because the side walls are 6 feet right now, the low plate. So that
You want to drop the plate lower
just a little bit, like
just to
match
get that
up.
down a titch?
Mhm.
Well, but then your fascia is
Oh, yeah, the
mismatched.
fascia wouldn't line up anymore.
Yeah, the fascias don't line up on the other side.
Well, but at least this volume and that volume are.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Here's-
if you can see it from street level.
Honestly, I don't know what
A
would.
legitimate point.
I don't know if you could tell the difference if you're on the street
If you
or.
lowered this pitch to an 11-12 or a 11 and a half 12 to line up those ridge lines, you'd never see that.
My take on this is by having this as a large volume, we're accentuating something that's already not
Big.
typical.
Yeah.
So, but I'm one voice of 5, and it sounds like I'm in agreement with myself. So, and I'm fine with that.
I think maybe to recap, windows need to be divided.
Yep.
We need to have a detail on the porch columns and the handrail. I think we need to have a detail on the garage doors.
Would you like to see something similar, or a simpler, or are you looking
Simpler.
for a carriage house door?
Simpler.
I think simple.
Yeah.
I don't think a carriage house door would be
No, I just
akin
threw that
to
out
this
there
style.
because-
Yeah, no, sure. And I think if I was a betting guy, I'd eliminate that bay, even though it's on a secondary or almost a tertiary. Maybe it's not a big deal if it can't even be visible.
But
Which bay are we talking about?
The bay, the bay window. on
Okay,
the
around the side.
if we're gonna call the bay into question, wouldn't we call the sort of many planes happening
Mm,
on this elevation into question?
I would disagree with that.
Okay.
That's just me, but it's a legitimate question. I look at the bay because it's its own entity.
Right, it's kinda hanging out in
And
space.
historically, it probably wouldn't have been there, more so on a Victorian, although you could make the argument that this is a tradition or transitional. I mean, there's a lot of styles that changed and still held on to some of the previous styles, but it is on a side that isn't visible, just like the skylight, I guess. So maybe I could back off on that.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah,
There's a
you
lot
could-
of plans going on this.
Yeah, I just felt like when we did that little doodle last time, that what we were kind of thinking was greatly simplified in terms of the number of volumes and articulations on those volumes, and so it still has a lot of articulation that's going on. It's just
Yeah, and that Blanchard side is what we were trying to also simplify mainly. That seems to be the main
right.
level.
Any
Yes.
comments about the missing window on the ground elevation of Blanchard? Not missing as the stairwell being there.
Oh, well, I brought that up, but that's a stairwell.
Right, is that, but I know in other places, I need to go up
Tripping
and
herself.
I think it's suitable for this application.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because we've had other times where we've required a window to be put
Right,
back.
and part of this gig is symmetry. That's what makes it simple, but I think short of doing some sort of interior thing that, I don't know if we can get into, I don't know how you can make it work. So I guess I'd be fine with how it is. I don't know.
I've seen fake doors in that location before to get that essence, but I wasn't going to request that.
You could put a fake
I think
window
it's-
there.
I think
Yeah.
it looks fine like that.
It doesn't bother me so much.
No.
Just,
You just have to put a sign out front that says stairwell. All right, so that we know that's what that is. Okay. So this would probably be a February gig. if
yeah,
not-
and I drove by the site today again, and there has been a lot of site clearing and preparation. So I do recommend before this application comes
check it
to
out.
the board, please do check it out, because I think winter and some site clearing kind of changed my understanding of the site from when I
This-
saw it in September.
The
What's
photos
your-
in the submittal here were taken in the fall before the trees had really dropped their leaves, and it looks completely different now.
What's your thought as after viewing that about?
It's a much more exposed lot
But
than
as
I
far
was
as sinking-
anticipating.
But when you looked at it and their thought was trying to bury this in more, did that seem?
Yeah, I think to me the site is much more exposed from Fourth than I was anticipating, and definitely much more exposed from Blanchard.
All right, I
So-
will point out that, and I might do this for the next application, is I'm going to show a forest view, with this drawing superimposed on the actual site, so you can see which trees are going to be in the foreground. Um,
We have done landscaping mitigation before on projects that were similar to try and detract from certain things. Is that something we should request or ask some
I
sort
think
of?
that's something the board can condition. So I think when you do your site visit, just really try to take
Okay.
an understanding of the existing condition, and there's a lot of blackberries there, and it's amazing when you start removing blackberries.
Oh, yeah.
What happens to a site?
Yeah, okay.
One other thing I might point out is right in the ravine there, you can see there's a pair of 18-inch oaks that are, see the property line between the two sites? Running right? Running top to bottom. The property line runs this way.
Oh, right. Here.
Okay, right smack in the middle there, there's a pair of 18s.
Oh, yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah, there,
There.
yeah.
And then to the upper right of your hand, there's an 8, a 10, and then a 10, another 10 and 8
And a 24.
directly in front of the house.
Wow.
And of course, those are all staying.
I guess it just depends on where the canopy is on those trees.
Right.
Which we need to go and look at
Mhm.
before anyway, so.
So that was my only lasting parting comment.
So that's something we all need to do prior to this, is for sure.
Look at the site.
So
the site.
recapping here, John, I've got separating the windows, porch column and handrail details, garage door, product cut, something like that.
Yeah.
Delete the bay on the,
Well, I guess that's subjective. it can stay, I guess, if everybody doesn't seem to have a problem with it.
That may have to go away anyway, and
It
I'll
might.
tell you why, is that
If you need to put one there, just put a traditional box like you did on the front for the dining room in the front.
a square bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are you saying that the site plan here is inaccurate? That this wall does not jog in?
No. No, that is accurate.
That is
That's
accurate.
the foundation.
Yeah, the left garage door is quite a bit deeper than the right one.
So this on the second floor, this wall goes straight across, or
No.
it jogs in?
It jogs in at the dining room, or this is what I've been.
Okay.
We haven't seen floor plans. A floor plan would be very helpful in understanding that. But
I can
Just sure.
use your pointer again. I'll point
Yeah.
out what lines are what. Okay, the porch columns are out here, so that's at the garage level. At the
Yeah.
very highest piece of the roof, this is the gable that projects.
Yeah, over the porch.
Right, you can see the
Okay.
roof lines there. This is the pop-out bay on the main floor.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the
so it's
porch,
a deeper porch right there.
porch is shaped like a golf club. It's wider at this end, kind of squarish,
Yeah.
and then it's down about 5 feet wide here.
So on the side of that pop out, you have like 18 inches, 2 feet between
here?
that and the primary wall? Yeah.
Well, it's a little confusing because this is actually a foundation wall that's down below,
Uh-huh.
not at the main floor.
That's like a deck right there where that actually pops out.
Sure.
Right.
Goes around.
Sure, but I'm envisioning it up on the second floor because that's a pop out.
so you can essentially extrude that volume up into the first floor.
Yeah.
Correct. So then you have a bay coming off of that jog that's buried underneath this other upper floor volume that's sticking out over the porch.
This drawing is confusing because there's actually line work from all 3 floors right here.
I guess
Well, I think I'm following.
Well, that's actually much more helpful.
I'm kind of wondering why you would even have that bump out there.
This one?
Yeah.
That's just a like a window seat at the where the living room is. It pops out onto the front porch.
Yeah, but you could have that line go straight across.
Right here?
No, right
Left.
there.
Straight out right
Yep.
there.
You can go straight across and still have a window seat, and it wouldn't look like this funky thing. But I don't know if you could see that from the front elevation anyway. So
No.
it seems kind of costly to do something.
I'm somewhat concerned, especially if the defoliage is that this is maybe more of a primary elevation than.
Actually, if you look at that view angle drawing there, that bay is so deep into the porch that
Right, it's back in there.
I don't know how much of it you're going to even perceive.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's why it's like straight across.
Real quickly, is anybody else in the audience here waiting for planning commission interviews? Okay, just needed to ask.
Any further questions of me?
I don't
think so.
I don't think so. You good?
I'd be happier if that corner was rationalized a little more, but that's just so. That's
No,
all.
that's legitimate. I think it should go straight across, actually.
There's no
I'm
reason why it
hearing
shouldn't.
articulation fatigue a little bit by historic review board.
We're all fatigued.
As far as roof line changes, anything I need to address there?
The roof we talked about.
Would you guys like to see those 2 ridge lines even?
I would, but
I think generally speaking, if an opportunity to line things up, it's a good opportunity.
That's easy to do. Okay,
won't be so easy next time. Okay.
thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks. I think we're done.
Yes, and I wanted to thank all of you for a great year, and I appreciate all the work you do. And I hope you have a great rest of your holiday season. And I'll
Right
see you
back
in the
at
new
you,
year.
sister.
Thank you.
You too, Christine. We couldn't have done it without you.
No, actually, there's
No.
no public comment tonight.
No
While you were
public
gone.
comments. This was just a design
Just-
advice meeting. For,
Just out of curiosity, how many people were here to listen to this presentation?
listen to.
Oh,
Well, that's what the neighborhood associations are for, and that's what.
Yep.
But tonight was mainly design advice. Well, it was, and we're done. Okay.